What up? It's your boy, the Incredible Man, and I'm back at it again. And this time, you already know, man, it is One Punch Man Season 2, Episode 11. We're nearing the end, man. It's getting real close, man. But this is my discussion / review of this episode, man. Okay. I've been talking back and forth with somebody, man, about the upcoming episodes, and was like, I'm telling you, man, be prepared, because I read the manga. It's gonna jump off, man. It's gonna really dive deep into some stuff, and you're gonna get some scenes and some action, man. And this episode, it delivered like I thought it was. I thought it was gonna be last week's episode, but it didn't really do it. But this week, it done it, man. It done it, and it made it so glorious, man. It was absolutely fantastic, and they cut it straight from the manga, man. I was so happy. Let's just talk about the episode, man. Let's just talk about the episode, okay? First off, we start off. It picks right up right after last week's episode with Garou talking to Death Gatling and the other A class and B class heroes. And let's just say, we all knew that Garou was a beast, man. But seeing the scenes in the manga is always fantastic, and it was absolutely great to see those scenes in the manga. But to see them animated and hear the voice actors when they was like shocked and surprised, and hearing Garou's voice actor come on the screen, it was like the way and the tone that his voice was set, like in those scenes where it was he was talking to the action-packed, not action-packed, but the when it was picked up by the action, and when he was talking to the A-class and B-class heroes, man. I love the scenes when he was talking to Death Gatling. And let's be honest, Death Gatling has some problems he need to sort out before he continues on being a hero. He has some real problems, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that, you know, and pride is something that everyone has, but you can't have that kind of pride and claim that you're a hero at the same time. But before I talk about all of the action scenes and everything that I loved, let's talk about that one moment that, and I say it in every video I have, and every time they show it in the episode, is Garou and the kid, man. Yeah, like towards the end when everything was happening, the kid kind of seen Garou for who he really is, and he kind of just was afraid and ran off. But before that moment, when Death Gatling unleashed his ultimate attack, and Garou just blocked everything from that part of the shed, all of this was completely, everything else was just ravaged, man. It was just completely demolished, except for that part where Garou was standing, and he just deflected he took some shots, but he deflected almost every bullet, man. Dude, that scene was absolutely fantastic, man. And then, you know, before this episode, like, there was nothing, like, animation wise, everything about this episode was I enjoyed everything. Even like the fight scenes, like we knew with the CGI armor and everything, but the fight scenes with him and Death Gatling, because, you know, and the other guys, they had like metal weapons where they show the CGI armor. It looks so much cleaner in this episode than it did in any of the prior episodes. And I had some to where I commented on how good they looked, but this episode, even with Genos' armor, it looked so good in this episode. And even with the fight scenes, the CGI armor looked great. You can tell it was still, because it's the way that they done it, but it flowed so well with the action-packed sequences in the fights and everything, and nothing looked out of place. The character animation looked good, and everything fit together in this episode. So I'm really happy about JC Staff doing that, man. They done their job on this episode. What else? Okay, yeah, let's talk about how not Genos. Well, that too, but let's talk about how Garou demolished these A-class and B-class heroes, man. Dude. Okay, let's be real. You kind of wanted Garou to win anyway. Just being real. I mean, we know he's like the bad guy, but at the same time, he's not like the bad guy. I mean, he's a bad guy, but he's not the bad guy, man. I mean, because a typical bad guy wouldn't save kids like the way he keeps saving the kid every time he turns around. He saves the kid, man. But, dude, he demolished these heroes like it was nothing, man. They was giving him a run for his money in the beginning, but like as the fight went on, he adapted and he demolished them, man. But there's one scene that where I felt for the heroes, and I know you're supposed to be on the hero's side, but you kind of just wanted Garou to just win this fight. But the scene where he was fighting Megane, and Megane had a flashback to like when he was in the Blizzard's group, and he was like the weak link in the group. And throughout the fight, when everything was going on, when Garou was using him as a shield, he was having thoughts and flashbacks like, well, this feels like the same time I'm only holding them back. I don't. And then they showed another flashback to where he was saved by Saitama, and he was like, I can't be a hero anymore. And Saitama said, who decides your limits? You decide your own limit. Dude, absolutely fantastic. I love moments like that to where we can see an individual overcome some stuff. But, I mean, let's be real, dude. I mean, he wasn't overcoming Garou. That's just what it was. But even Garou gave him his recognition, because at that point when he stopped running away and he decided to fight Garou, he was like, you're doing good. But you got beat. He got demolished, man. All of this was just like messed up. But he stood his ground. And that's what a hero does, man. So I give Megane 100%, man. Megane, in that episode, out of all of those heroes that showed up right there at that moment, Megane was a true hero, man. And he's the one that called Genos, man. Genos showed up like a boss. Garou had completely demolished everybody else, and Genos just came in. Oh, I received a call that some heroes needed help. Son, when Genos came in, man, I love when Genos gets new upgrades, because when Genos gets new upgrades, we see new moves, we see new techniques and everything, man. And it was well done in the manga, but yet again, it looks so good when it's animated and there's color and there's a score in the background and you can hear everything. And let's be honest, man, at that point, I was trying to say point and moment at the same time, but at that moment, you wanted Genos to win at that moment. I mean, you were still there for Garou, you were still rooting him on, but at that moment you wanted Genos to win, just a little bit. You wanted him to win because Genos came through and, dude, man, oh, it was so great. It was so great. And I love seeing Genos when he's fighting, when he has the moves, because he always brings back machine gun blow. Boom, 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 boom. Dude, I love machine gun blow, and the way that they done it, it looked absolutely fantastic. And him and Garou was going back and forth, and then Genos was like, incinerate. Dude, their fight, the fight with the A-class and the B-class heroes was great, man. I love seeing Garou demolish those guys, and I felt sorry for Megane, but that fight scene was absolutely great. But when Genos came, that fight shot to a whole nother level, man. That was like, okay, the A-class and the B-class heroes fight was maybe like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give their fight maybe, since I don't want to go over, so I'm gonna use 10 as the highest point. So I'll give their fight maybe a 6 or a 7. Overall, it was a very great fight, and seeing Garou adapt to his element and take on all of those individual different type heroes. But the fight with Genos, man, dude, that fight is a 10 times 10, man. That fight was absolutely fantastic, man. But after all that is said and done, and I love that fight scene, then we get the monster heroes trying to not recruit, because he's not following them, but they're trying to save him. So like I'm assuming he'll be indebted to them for them saving him. But let's be real, Genos ended that quick, like, man. Genos killed all the other guys, and then he came through with this cool new blade on his arm and sliced the flower plant monster, and it was just awesome, man. And I love Garou's new look with the whole red eye, and then his hair is red. In the manga, you couldn't really see it because, you know, everything's black and white and gray. But seeing it in color, it looks good. I mean, you knew it was gonna be blood because you could tell in the manga, but like to see it actual live color, it looked very fantastic, man. But then we get Silverfang and his brother. I've been wanting to talk about this for so long, but I didn't because, like, you know, I didn't want to spoil it for anybody that doesn't read the manga because we got glimpses of him, but you know, it was just never. And dude, now this fight scene that's coming next between Genos, Silverfang, his brother, and the monsters, and Garou, that is gonna be fantastic, man. That is gonna be epic, and that is what I cannot wait to see. But I love the fact that they showed a little flashback of Garou when he first met Silverfang at the temple and stuff. So I love that, and it was absolutely great, man. But before I end this video, let's talk about Saitama and King still playing video games. I mean, everybody else is really dealing with some heavy stuff, and they're still playing video games, man. And Saitama's losing 81-0. Who lose video games that much at that point? You know, it's time to like go home, practice that game a lot, and not just spam a button and get back and get better, and then try to fight him again. But that's all that really happened this episode, man. It was very, very good, man. It picked up right after last week's episode, and I knew what was coming, but I was still shocked and surprised when everything unfolded the way that it did. I knew what was happening and I knew what was coming, but to see it animated and in color with a score behind it and the actual visuals, it was absolutely fantastic, man. But this is your boy Dick Incredible. Don't forget to smash that like button till you can't smash it anymore. Comment down below and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them, and subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. And remember that anime matters, anime is greatness, and anime is life, man. Peace out.